Hey guys, Paul with Weapons of the World here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Dragunov sniper rifle. Some basic information about the SVD. Its country of origin is the USSR. Caliber is 7.62 by 54R, which is actually the oldest military service round still in use. Overall length is 48 inches with a total weight with a loaded magazine and scope coming to 9.5 pounds. The barrel length is 24 inches, and it fires from a 10-round detachable box magazine. It uses a short-stroke gas piston system and has an effective range of about 800 to 1,000 meters. So let's talk about some basic history of the SVD. It was designed by Yevgeny Dragunov in 1963, and Yevgeny was a very competent and abled gunmaker. Before the SVD, he was designing Olympic-grade rifles for the Olympics, and so he was very, very knowledgeable as to how to make a very accurate, reliable, and lightweight firearm. During the Olympics, many of his rifles won gold. I can't remember exactly which ones or during what times, but I know many of them did end up winning the gold, and they were world-renowned for their accuracy. Now, when Yevgeny Dragunov designed this, the Russian army, or the Soviet army I should say, wanted a lightweight sniper rifle that was still able to be highly accurate. Now, in an interview with Yevgeny about the SVD, he said that it could have been more accurate. He could have made it more accurate with a heavier barrel and heavier build to increase the accuracy. However, that would have made it impossible to meet the weight requirements of 9.5 pounds by the Soviet army. So while the SVD is an accurate rifle, it's not as accurate as, say, the American M24 or M40 bolt-action sniper rifle, or some other bolt-action guns, but that's kind of expected from a semi-automatic sniper rifle. So let's talk about the internals of the AK. Of the SVD. It looks a lot like an AK. The function is the exact same. The safety is in the same place. The magazine release is the same place, and it just kind of looks like an AK. The reason this was done is because most Soviet troops were trained on the AK by this time. So when a Soviet troop or soldier is trained on an AK, they wanted really not to train them on anything too complicated, so that's why they made it look like an AK and function like an AK. However, internally it is nothing close to an AK. A lot of people think that the SVD is basically an AK-47 with a bigger barrel and a heavier bullet, but in fact they share no common parts. The only thing that's really common in between them is that they look kind of the same. I mean, the function and the way that it looks is kind of similar, but other than that, they're two completely different rifles. So let's kind of look at the gas system here. Again, it's a short stroke gas piston system, and what that means is when the bullet is fired, the gas that is used to fire the bullet comes up into this chamber right up here, just like a normal AK, and it pushes this piston, the rod, all the way up and back here, and this is a very short little piston. It doesn't, like the AK, if this was like an AK, there would be, the gas piston would come and actually be a part of the bolt itself, but in actuality all it does is push it a very short distance, probably less than half an inch, and that basically just kicks the bolt to the rear to cycle the action, chamber a new round, and all that sort of stuff. So it doesn't operate like an AK in the sense that the AK has a long stroke gas piston that is attached to the actual bolt itself. The SVD has a short stroke gas piston. Other differences are the trigger. Now, I've heard this said many times that the SVD's trigger is one of the best military triggers out of the box in the world, and that kind of just shows you that Yevgeny was a very competent firearms designer. He made this trigger very smooth. I've never fired an SVD. Maybe one day I will. But everyone that I've talked to that has fired the SVD has praised the trigger for how smooth it is and just how good it is. It's just a solid trigger. Now, some other features that the AK just doesn't have are the fact that it has a bolt hole open device, that when the magazine runs dry, the bolt is actually locked to the rear, like this, by a little plunger that is located right here. Now what the follower does is, inside the magazine, the follower is right here, for those of you who can't see. Now the follower, when the last round is fired, the bolt goes to the rear, the follower goes up and actually pushes. There's a little tab on the inside of this magazine, and it pushes on this plunger right here, and the plunger actually makes contact with the bolt face and stops the bolt from going forward. So that's kind of an interesting feature. Very useful too. Just kind of one less thing you have to do. Let's talk about the scope. Now, most of the scopes for the SVD are the PSO1 scope. It's a 4x optic, much like the American ACOG. Early SVDs were equipped, or I should say early PSO1s actually had infrared capabilities. However, the Soviets kind of realized that it wasn't that effective to have night vision capabilities on a sniper rifle scope during this time. I should say infrared, not really night vision, but infrared capabilities. They realized that it wasn't really that useful, it wasn't really that great of an optic, and so they took that off and just left it as the normal PSO1, which is what you see on most Dragunovs today. Like a lot of AKs, it mounts from the side. Over here on the left side there's a rail, and to take the scope off there's a lever right here. You flip that to the right side and it just slides right off. The stock has a cheek piece right here for when you have the optic. When you mount optics on AK type systems, especially for this side folding rail, or the side rail, excuse me, the optic tends to be kind of high because it has to wrap around the top of the receiver. So you generally will have to have this cheek piece on. It's just made of a piece of wood covered in some leather. Really not that comfortable, but it does. It works. It gets the job done. So a lot of people think that the SVD is more of a designated marksman's rifle, and they're not entirely wrong. The word, or the name SVD, stands for Sniperskaya Vintovka Dragunova, and what that translates to Russian is Sniper Rifle Dragunov. So the Russians and the Soviets had different opinions as to what a sniper does, what his job is, and what a sniper rifle should be. For the West and for the Americans, we think of a sniper as primarily as recon, gathering information, and if need be, taking out high-value targets during a combat operation. And what that entails is a very highly accurate precision rifle. Now, not to say the SVD is not a precision rifle, it absolutely is, but we just have a different definition of what a sniper does compared to the Soviets, especially during the 60s. Now, snipers in the West are very specialized, very highly trained, and I wouldn't say rare, but they're not as common and not as used as just a basic grunt. For the Soviets, with their much larger army and much larger forces, they required more snipers. So they couldn't spend the entire time training every single person to be a sniper. So what they would do is they would equip one squad. For every squad or fire team, there'd be one or two people that were good marksmen that had high marksmanship scores, and they would equip them with the SVD and train them how to use it. So that kind of tends to fall into the role here in the West as a designated marksman. However, they operated much like snipers. Their rifle was a sniper rifle. The SVD is absolutely a sniper rifle. It says it in the name, sniper rifle. So I can understand why some people think the SVD is more of a DMR, especially compared to modern guns today like the M40 sniper rifle, the M24, and the Barrett M82, guns that are all modern, especially when it comes to the M24 and M40. Both of those guns are bolt action, and something that is kind of glossed over is during these kind of talks is bolt actions will always be more accurate than their semi-automatic counterparts. The reason for that being is with semi-autos like the SVD here, some of the gas has to be diverted to cycle the action, while with bolt action guns like the M40, all the powder and all the power that is used to push the bullet down the barrel, cannot talk today, is put behind the bullet and sends that bullet faster and straighter than, say, a semi-automatic. However, with semi-automatics, you don't have to operate a bolt, and you can keep your eye and your you can stay on target longer than, say, a bolt action, where you'd have to take your eye off most of the time and operate the bolt. But in all sense of the word, and how it was actually used in real life, the SVD is a sniper rifle. At least I consider it so. But that kind of wraps it up for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed me rambling on about the kind of controversy that surrounds the SVD in regards to its sniper rifle status. If you differ from that opinion, please go ahead, say so in the comments. I'd love to have an actual discussion. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more, guys. Bye.